That's tough, man. So you started out, you're from a town of under 1,000.
Yep.
Grant City.
Technically a town of 46, but it neighbored that town of about 1,000. So,
You get credit for that?
Yeah.
What sports did you play in high school, and were there enough players to form a team?
Was it 8-man football?
It was 8-man football.
Nice. Nice.
Went to state 3 years in 8-man football over my 4 years in high school. We won 1 year.
You started as a freshman?
I did start as a freshman, played all ways, offense, defense, kickoff, return.
For our listeners, what is 8-man different? Like, what's the difference? What 3 players aren't? Is it just a smaller offensive line?
Yep, correct.
It's a smaller field.
Yeah, smaller field, smaller offensive line, a lot faster game, a lot more running.
Is there 3 offensive linemen or 2?
3.
Bro, you need to watch an 8-man football game. They're so fun because you score, like people score, the scores are like to 100.
Oh, absolutely.
It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it feels probably like a lot like two-hand. I mean, it's not two-hand touch, but just so wide open, right? I can imagine like rushing as a defender, rushing the passer must be like the most fun.
Oh, absolutely.
I went to an 8-man football game, and
the edge is just not existent.
One of the teams was down by 50, and they came back and won.
That's impressive.
I was just like,
a team was down by 50.
Yeah, yep.
I can't remember. It's been so long, obviously, since high school, but I think that's the 70 point rule.
Yeah, there's a run limit in it. Yeah.
So
like
we would do it all the time, though.
Yeah.
Because we had a good team. Like we genuinely, a lot of corn-fed, Missouri boys, strong dudes.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of speed. We had a lot of strength. Like we would crush schools. And like that would be, first half, shut down the game.
Look this up, Thatcher. I want to know a stat of look up most famous NFL players to come from 8-man football.
That would be a good stat.
I would love to know what guys are in the NFL that had their high school start of football be 8-man. That'd be so interesting to see.
I played with a guy at Garden City that went to Boise State. His name was Choate, and he came from 8-man football.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
He had no last name. It was just Choate.
He was also just a different guy. He didn't get recruited by him. He's just like, I'm going to Boise State. I like their uniforms and stuff.
Here we go.
See this notable ones with a $1. Oh, do we have to subscribe to the Oklahoman?
Oh man.
All right, scroll.
Not a single person I know.
Oh, Josh Brown, Ronald Lewis, Chris Penn, old Stacy Satterwhite. No.
Nolan Cromwell.
I think we know that name. No? Wait, Chad Greenway. We know Chad Greenway. Hold on. Linebacker. First round draft pick for the Vikings. That's right. Yeah. He was actually really good. But he played 8-man in South Dakota.
Yep.
Dear God. Yeah, Chad Greenway was a Iowa linebacker.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That's the best one. But that's pretty interesting. So you decide, all right, so this is the unheard of stuff. Actually, Kyle and I went to this conference this last week that was just regarding younger generation in the workplace.
Yep.
And, this is in 2014, I believe, is when you decided you're going to do this, right?
2013.
2013. Yep. You hear about an opportunity to grow with First Form and to grow with Supplement Superstores. And you decide, I'm going to go try this out. You get an interview, and you're driving from Minnesota to St. Louis.
Yep.
What? Especially when you found out that it was a 3-interview process, and they legitimately were going to make you drive.
Out of the gate,
Yeah. Do you think that would have stopped?
They spring that one on you
right off the bat. Do you think that would have stopped you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It was such a weird spot in my life. Coming out of college, get my degree, getting a job, get my first real big boy job, it was paying well, and it was a great job. I was good at it, but didn't like the lifestyle, didn't see myself wanting to do that long term, and then also just, feeling like I was showing up, to work a job, get a paycheck, pay my bills, no purpose behind what I was doing. And I was like, man, I don't care if this turns into a successful career. I don't want to live my life this way for the rest of my life. So just in a spot of seeking for more and something that was going to give me some passion behind what I was doing every single day. And that's what made me want to apply in the first place, is hey, maybe this could be it. And it was reading Andy's stuff on Facebook. It was seeing some of the videos from behind the company and man, it just seems like a good group of people, doing some cool stuff. And I think I'd like that a lot. Growing up playing sports, working out, was a personal trainer for a little bit when I was in college, didn't really know that there was even, the opportunity, again, coming from a town of 46 people, fitness is not a career. That's not a life that you live. I mean, there's not even gyms where I grew up. You know?
It's a hobby that, like, if you make any money,
there's hay bales. You go list them
that's
hay
right,
bales.
That's right. You know, so like I'd never even thought of that. You know, so then kind of learning a little bit more about it. You know, seeing it from the outside, I'm like, man, that could be cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just obviously at the time I think Andy had just bought like his first nice car and stuff. I was like, well, I mean, there's got to be some opportunity there. He looks like he's doing pretty well. Maybe I could go do that too.
That's so funny. It's like everything that you said it's probably all three of our stories. You know, it's like, you know, for me, the sports thing that you mentioned, it's like once you don't have sports in your life and you know, have this mundane job that you're looking at and you're like looking at your future and you're like, dude, I can't do this.
Yeah.
None of the people I'm working with are competitive. No one gives a shit.
Well, and half the people that I was working with at the time, I worked in like exploratory geology. So like you're spending a lot of time on the road, you know, and it's a great job, you know, and I actually find it very interesting what I actually did and like the mine planning side of it. But most nights, I mean, you're going out and you're hanging out at a bar, you're drinking, you know. I worked with a lot of guys that they were married, they had families. You wouldn't know it, you know. Right. I mean, when you're spending a lot of time on the road, you know, they're away from their families and people make poor decisions.
They're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, this is not what I want to be doing for the next 20 years or whatever, you know, just in my career there. So, you know, that's kind of where that came from.
And the supercar thing too, you know, the same thing for me. It's like as soon as I saw, you know, I went and ate at Helen's once with Andy and he drove a Lamborghini there. Yep. And I was like, bro, a Lamborghini? Yep. I was like, dude, we're doing good. We have to be doing good as a company, you know? It was just like a sign to me like, this is the right direction. You know what I'm saying? And some people, they want to kick rocks at that, you know? But like for me, I was like, dude, that is a sign right there that like we are headed in the right direction as a company.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, it's interesting, you know, the kind of like the employee mindset at times where it's like you see your boss, you know, buy something or go somewhere nice, whatever. And it's like, has anybody ever become successful for like hating on that? You think?
That's my thing. Like,
has anybody ever like, has it ever worked out well for them?
That's not how my brain works. So like, I've never been somebody like, oh, well, they shouldn't be doing that. Like, I don't know. I've never been that person. Like that excites me. I'm like, hey, if that person's able to do it, well, that means I could do it too.
For sure.
You know, if I'm willing to put in the work, if I'm willing to get better with my skill set, like, okay, I could do that too.
You know what I've talked to Jeff about this, where I think this mindset has basically permeated and into the culture at large, is because there are so many companies out there that are just trying to hire you in and pacify you and get you to shut the fuck up, and they're going to drive the Lamborghinis, and you're not going to have any upward mobility. For sure. You're just going to work the same job forever until you're 45 and you wake up and you're like, dude, what am I doing? Right. Yep. And I think that basically hurts companies that are looking to provide value to their employees and get them to like level up. You know, it's
where the growth is authentic, right? Where the company is actually promoting, hey, we want you guys to grow with us, and they're being authentic about it.
Well, I mean, that
just gives you it's kind of like just like anything else when it comes to supplement industry or the fitness industry in general. There's a lot of places that don't have pure intentions, or their focus or their intent is not in the right places. They're thinking about money, or they're thinking about themselves versus the actual result of the customer. And it's like, we get this all the time. People walk into our stores and they're like, their guards are all up, their walls are all up, and it's because they've been jaded by their previous experiences. And I think that's no different for employees.
Yeah, and I get that 100%. You know, but that's what inspires me a lot, and has what really has made me just so dedicated and, you know, passionate about what I do, you know, and what we do. I mean, from Andy, Chris, Sal, Jason, none of those guys have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could have sold the company and done whatever they want for the rest of their life and been set, not their families, not have to worry about anything ever. Mm-hmm. But to see those guys show up every single day and constantly push it forward, constantly put everything back on the line, sign up for it again, risk everything they've ever built over the last 25 years to continue to grow it, not for their personal gain, but so they can build the opportunity for other people. I mean, Andy talked about it one time of, you know, his dreams have to be so big that it can fit all of our dreams underneath it, you know, and like, I know that's serious to him. I know he cares about, you know, everybody else and giving them the opportunity to live that same life if they're willing to go and work for it and build it, you know, and that's just super cool to see.
I mean, dude, how amazing that we have that opportunity, right? It's just,
well,
people don't understand how grateful they should be.
Yeah.
That you can only go as far as where, you know, the highest person in the company's vision takes you.
Of course. And that's the cool thing, you know, like I truly, genuinely don't know personally, at least. I'm sure there's some other people out there, but they've went through so much failure to have so much success. And people that obviously don't know the origin story of supplement superstores and First Form, like they see it today and they think, oh, it must be nice. They had rich parents or they got lucky or whatever it is. But to have 10 years of failure, to grind that out, show up every single day of, hey, how do we just get a little bit better? And again, in the beginning, not the best intentions of, it wasn't the grandiose mission and vision in the beginning.
Totally,
just
you don't know what
you're just trying to figure out how to stay open at that point.
How do we
ask people for their money and try to give enough value to get it? Here's enough. Yeah, it's simple.
Let's talk about. So you get hired. It's 2013. You've quit this job that I'm guessing was a pretty good paying job.
Yeah.
Your parents are pissed at you.
What was that job paying you?
It was like 70,000 ish, plus,
which is incredible. That's incredible for a 23-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
To my parents, I was doing the best that could ever be done.
Right.
Honestly, though, that's like the pay. When we hired Freddie, it was like we hired him away from Enterprise, and he was making around the same amount, and we were like, dude, I promise you. You make the decision. The money they're making now, you're going to make more than that in the future. It's a hard decision now, but I promise you this will be a better, Well,
I think my first 8 months, in the job, I think I made like $24,000. Like I still have those pay stubs. Like I will never get rid of those pay stubs.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
Yeah. So I guess my question was when you got into the stores, you were working in Wentzville. Wentzville wasn't super busy at that point in time.
Brand new store.
Did you look around ever and did you ever think to yourself, what am I doing?
I don't know. I don't know. I probably got
100 times, Kyle. What are you
stuff
talking
wrong
about?
with my brain? It's certainly of like, man, this is a lot, but I never didn't believe in the opportunity. Certainly a lot of times like, man, this is tough, because like at the time I was working like 80 hours a week, between, working at Wentzville. I'd pick up any shift at any store because they told me they're going to hire me full time. But then Wentzville didn't really have the hours to have me on full time. So then, any opening at any of their stores was like, hey, I'll take it. I don't care. Let's go.
At that time you and like Will at the time were really creating a name for yourself just from doing things like that, from going the extra mile in a lot of different ways and picking up shifts that you became kind of the undeniable guys that were in the company at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's part, I get a lot of credit for that, just going above and beyond and doing whatever it took. And part of that was, though, I had to survive, so I was going to work the hours. But the other piece of that, and this is what I think is, it translates into anything that you want to progress in. Like I understood the other 60 people in the company at the time, they wanted the same job that I wanted. Well, if I was going to get the job and not them, like I've got to be willing to do things that they're not going to be willing to do. Mm-hmm. They've got better skills than I do. Okay. Yeah. Well, how do I do more work for them? How do I start building the relationships that they're not willing to build? What are the things that I can beat them at? And just go attack that. Because like, okay, I could wait my turn in line and I could, wait to slowly progress and just work my normal shifts and go get jobs outside of here and, make the money they need to make to get by. Or I can just attack this head on, and that's where part of that's like, hey, I want to work the hours because I need to make the money. But two is like, hey, that's my competitive advantage at the time. Like I will go outwork all of these people and I will build my name so I can get to where I want to go as fast as humanly possible.
How did you handle this? Because, belief is one of our core values and I believe it to be the number one most important one. You would not practice any of the other values if you didn't have belief in the first place, right?
Of course.
And, in this day and age, how, one of the biggest struggles for our young people, and that's for both of our companies, is what if I do all of this and it doesn't work out? The old question. And it's like, well, there's only one way to guarantee
conditional.
There's only one way to guarantee that it won't work out.
Yeah, you don't do it. Of course.
So it's it's a fun question that everybody asks, but it's usually the thing that brings people from being able to get where they want to go, right?
Yep.
But how did you handle that era of time for you? Because everybody's got their own story, but it's like during that young era, you're 23, you're grinding it out, etc., and you just don't have the belief around you. And this is like, again, everybody can look at Andy now and say, like, well, of course, right? And it's like, no, dude, like Andy literally didn't even have an Instagram. He had no followers, right? And so for you to believe in this so much so that you're going to drive 8 hours a few times just to get the job, live 8 hours away from home, grind it out like you're doing, and
Make an eighth of the money.
yeah, make no money. And all I'm saying is like, and you just don't even have the support of your parents. And of course you have support from them because they love you.
Yeah.
But you don't have belief.
The constant question of like, hey,
Correct.
when are you going to quit? When are you going to get a real job? When are you going to move back home? When are you going to do like,
And it's
all
always
the time?
we
Like, that's
know
tough.
the family times, right? The Thanksgivings, the Christmases, when you go home, it's, everybody's asking, hey, what's going on with your life, and give us all the details, and no one's giving you the belief. How did you personally handle that?
Yeah. See, that's the interesting thing. Cause like I talk about that, especially with our newer team all the time. Like, the thing that I had going for me at the time was I had experience doing something else. Like I had made, again, for the age that I was, the time of my life, I'd made good money, like I had a good job and I hated it. Like every day I hated showing up to work, so even while I might've been in a situation where I was making a lot less money and I was working a lot harder than I was in my other job, like I was way happier. Like, and I tell people that all the time, like, yeah, I've been very successful and very fortunate in my career and what I've built over the last 10 years at First Form and, with the time that I spent at Supplement Superstores. But like, I am just as happy and just as excited to show up for work now that I was then. Like the money it's great. I can do a lot of great things with it, with the nonprofit stuff that we do, or building a life for my family, or taking care of my family, Taste family, whatever it is. Like, it gives you the advantage to do a lot of great things and certainly live a more comfortable life and not have to, worry about, just normal stuff. But at the same time, it's not what fuels me. Like that's when I knew I was in the right spot, because like the team side of it, having a culture of just good people you're working with every single day, doing something that I believe in, that I feel like matters greatly, that's helping people. Like, even though I didn't make the money, I didn't have the title, I didn't have any of the things then, like I loved what I was doing genuinely, so like, I think that's the biggest thing. And it goes into the belief. Like, yeah, I saw the long-term opportunity of what could be, in the life that could be created, which fueled me of like wanting to get there. But at the same time, I also just loved what I did.
The day-to-day was fun.
Yeah. It was great.
And dude, when you sell out like you do, that's what I try to explain to people. It's like, when you went all in like that, how could it not be fun? Because you're making such a strong contribution to something that is so great.
Yeah, and you see yourself making the progress every single day. It might not be every day. Look, you're going to have bad days too. I have bad days today, but at the end of the day, like, you're making incremental progress that you're looking back on and saying, hey, look, I am getting better, which fuels the belief side of it of, okay, hey, this is a possibility for me. Mm-hmm. And it's seeing the other little things along the way too. Other people getting promoted, other people, accomplishing big things too. Like, okay, hey, as long as I keep my head down, I keep doing these things, I'm going to get there. Yeah, it might take me a while. It might not happen, in the first month or the first year or whatever it is, but like, as long as I keep showing up. And again, that's why I always go back to like Chris and Andy's story. Like, I tell that story to so many people that come into First Form, because truly, I don't know people that have been through 10 years of failure to create something so great, and I think that's so indicative of everybody's life. Like, people are far more capable than what they give themselves credit for. But because of the instant gratification we have here on our phones, post something on social media and I get a bunch of likes and I feel good about myself, or I post something, I don't get a lot of likes and I feel bad about myself. Like, we're so hardwired in everything that we do, from the foods that we eat to the activities we do, of what's going to make me feel good right now.
Looking for that dopamine.
Yeah. And so as soon as you meet that failure, that adversity, people far too often, they're like, oh, this isn't meant for me, or this isn't possible for me. And they quit. And seeing that firsthand to understand the backstory. Obviously, I wasn't there from 1999 to 2013 to witness all of that they struggled with, but to know the story and see that they came out on the other side of it and they're doing these great things, like, okay, that just fueled me. Like, I connected with that. I grew up in again, the town of 46 people that I grew up in, it's a very rural area. It's a very poor area. It's not, like, I never had a lot of financial means in my life, my family life. So, one that wasn't super important to me.
Was the top export in Grant City meth?
Yeah, that's truly probably the thing.
It's too small for meth, dude.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not. Oh,
it's a large meth population up there. Unfortunately,
half the city, so 23 people.
It can't support a dentist,
yeah.
but it supports that.
What you're talking about too is that it's such. In supplement superstores, guys get to the point where they have basically all the boxes checked. So they know everything. They have a base of knowledge that's big enough that they could be real successful. They have the interactions. They have thousands and thousands of interactions at that time. They have, they've gone through the whole, learning how to be a leader process. and then they kind of get to the point where they're like, I'm ready, right?
Yep.
And they don't understand that, no, there's actually a next part to that, and it's actually the grind of just doing something over and over again and building calluses and actually becoming resilient in that job to where it's like you can do it, and it there is no like you have to go through wanting to quit, and until you and I went through that hard. I wanted to quit, multiple times
to the point he quit.
Yeah, to the point that I actually did quit.
Course.
And it was like, if you don't go through that, when me and Jeff moved to Kansas City, it's like we took every transaction for a year. If you don't go through like that hardship, or like you did, basically working 80 hours a week every week over and over and over again, if you don't build those calluses, then when you do encounter some kind of issue where it's like, man, this is starting to suck, then you want to quit right away.
Well, I mean, how can you lead somebody through something you've never been through before? And like, I'll give you an example, like TJ LeFevre. You guys know TJ.
Love him. Yeah.
Great dude.
Guy.
One of the best guys we've got. And he leads a lot of our teams at First Form. And he leads a guy that, younger guy in the company, got a lot of great potential. I see a lot in the dude. And he was making a comment to me like, hey, I think he could step up and take over a leadership position. And I have no doubts of the capability of the individual. I was like, hey, look, I get where you're coming from, and I believe that too, but he's not ready yet. And it's not because he doesn't have the skill set to do it, but he's never faced any hard times. He's never went through it. He's got to go through. He's doing good, but he's got to continue to be able to show up and perform and drive a result. He's got to go through some bad times. He's got to go through the feeling of wanting to quit and struggling and be able to get through that. That way, when he is in that leadership role, all right, well, he's got the experience to lead from and to be able to help pull somebody else through that piece of it too. And I think that's just a good look at adversity. Like, again, a lot of people, they get uncomfortable with that. It makes them feel like they should quit. But like, I view it the complete opposite way. Like, that is my opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, if I can, everybody else they're nervous, they're afraid right now, whatever it is. And they're leaning out of this, or they're pulling back because maybe the sales aren't as good or whatever. I'm not making as much money, so I'm not going to put as much into this, and that's where true separation can happen, because it gives you the opportunity to lean into it, And one, I mean, it's from a leadership capital standpoint where you can go through and find that way to drive through that, find success in the hard time, which ultimately is going to separate you from everybody else. But it also gives you the experience that you need to be able to turn around and help somebody else through that when they're struggling with the same thing.
Very true.
One of my favorite things for these guys that you're talking about, right? It just reminded me of this, and it's so often, especially in our company, people can get hot, if you will, where they really pour it on, right? And they can pour it on for 90 days.
Yep.
Typically, that's like the threshold.
Yeah.
But sometimes they can stretch it for 6 months.
Yep.
And I try to tell those people, hey, like, people are always wondering, like, what is it I got to do to like get up to, to get promoted or to get into a higher role, whatever. And I always say, like, think about it like this: if we were to hire you based on all of these conditions that you met, like you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, we don't actually know yet that you value doing it those ways that were right.
Yep.
We just know that you valued it if you got this promotion.
Of course.
So I'm going to tell you now that we're not going to give it to you. And I don't know when I'm going to give it to you, but I want to see how you act now that I just told you that.
Yeah.
And I just want to see how you do it and how long it takes you to break.
Yep.
To change how you help, to change how detail focused you are.
Yep.
Just how long is it going to take you to break and say, I'm okay with the easier way now?
Yeah.
Because that's really the only differentiating factor between an exec and an hourly employee.
Yep.
Is an exec will do it the right way every time, how tired they are, how sleep deprived they are, how much crap's going on in their personal life. You got, kids, wife, dogs, whatever it is. None of it matters, because this is the actual way we have to do it. Yeah. And it's like your commitment to that is what we care about. And that's how you're going to have trust with your other coworkers too. Well,
I mean, your commitment to it, your ownership of the business or whatever you're doing. Like, I mean, I think that's the biggest differentiator there is, are you showing up and is it just a job that you're working for? Or even before I ever had the title or anything that I have, like, I've always viewed everything I did as like, hey, this is my business. Like from how I would spend money in the business to how I would show up and work for the business. Like, I would treat it as my own, even before, any of this was a thing for me. And I was just a normal employee that was working there, and I had no opportunity yet to progress through.
I think that's a common thread between people that, you know, in the upper levels of our company, it's the people that most embodied that, what you just said, are the ones that are in the places that they're in.
Take ownership long enough, you'll get ownership.
100%, you know, and again, like at the end of the day, like I've never been somebody to just want to do a job, you know, just so I could get a paycheck. Again, that's how I got started here. I wanted to do something that I truly cared about. And for me, like, I don't view this as my job. I don't view it as my career. I view it as my life.
Part of you.
So like it is, it's truly a part of me. Like I don't turn this off when I go home like, oh, well, not at work, so I'm not dealing with this. Like at all times, like half the time I can't sleep at night. It's because like I'm thinking about somebody on our team or something we're doing or something we could get better at. And it is. And it's tough. And I get that because not everybody wants that. You know, they do. They want to go to a job. They want to collect their paycheck and they want to check out. And they want to go live their life. Like I get that. That's some people. You know, but for me, like I don't want to spend. I'm going to spend half my life, you know, at work with the people that I work with. Like, why would I not want to pour everything I've got into that and make it the best that I can be and truly make an impact and make a difference and do something that I love?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel like it's the requirement if you're going to make the impact that you want to make.
Yep.
You know, you can't turn it off and expect greatness.
Well, again, if it's about the money, if it's about the title, whatever it is, you know, as soon as that's not there, the drive to show up and give it your best is no longer there.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's why it's so important to find something that you truly care about. You know, I don't
And don't wrap conditions around it.
Yeah, 100%. You know, so I think that's for me the biggest benefit that I had early on is like I knew I loved it. You know, I knew I was passionate about it. You know, which made me perfectly okay with investing my entire life into it and doing whatever it took to make it work out and make the impact that we were trying to make.
Let's talk. So 2013, you get hired on to Supplement Superstores. You basically sell your soul for a good amount of time, and then you get to talk with. You were in like the first round of guys that got pulled over to First Form, correct?
Yep.
So it was like Cody,
you'd have to know this. What was
Will.
what number employee were you?
I think I was number 8 or 9 overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was Chris, Andy, Sal, Jason, Scott Halsey was running the warehouse at the time. Ryan Riggle, Brian Teach,
Cody Klein?
Kit Kitson, Cody Klein. No, I was number 10. Yep.
Nice,
dude. And so you were the only one that was like a kid. Truly.
Will's
Will was at the same time though, wasn't he?
Younger than me. Yeah, and he got moved over like 2 months before I did.
Wild.
Yeah, Will and I, you know, which we have a great relationship. I just married him and Darcy 2 weekends ago.
very cool.
Yeah.
What a full circle moment, man.
I know. But early on, like internally, I hated Will.
Don't worry, so did I.
But I knew he was like, you know,
'Cause he's the man.
That's my rival.
Yeah.
That's right.
He is going for the same job and he is equally invested in this. And there was times when I'd get, you know, pulled into work at Chesterfield S2, which was where Will was working out of. And like Will and I, if Will was doing something, I'm doing the same thing. Like, oh, if he's stocking the water, I'm gonna stock the water right next to him. You know, if he's cleaning,
He's
wells,
relentless,
I'm cleaning
dude.
wells.
He's
Like,
relentless.
he is. He's one of the
Amazing.
most, you know, mentally tough dudes I know. Which is why I love him so much because he pushes me to get better.
Yeah.
you know?
He came down to Springfield just to be like, I want to say I worked with everybody and like I want to make sure that I've like gotten all the seasoning I can possibly get. So I'm going to work with you, Jeff, for a couple of days. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But like the simple fact that he just did that on his own, right? I'm going to
I remember
3 hours just
Will
to
was
hang
just
out with
like
you.
that guy at that point. I remember Sal hit me up and he was like, hey, who do you got that does CrossFit? I have some CrossFit athletes coming into town. And I was like, Will Grumke. You know, instantly I was like, you need to talk to Will Grumke. And Will just like took advantage of that because he like made those athletes feel, you know, so at home and so, you know, and it was like, it was kind of a competition with you guys that were on like the west side of the, you know, our stores that were in St. Louis because you guys were like always battling at it. But, you know, what was it like, you know, when you first got pulled over? Because at the time, you know, First Form was doing like maybe 50 orders online a day. Maybe. I don't even know if it was that.
Might be stretching it there, Kyle.
But it was like, you know, what was your job like? What was the culture like? You know, give us an idea of what those times were like.
Yeah, it was super cool, you know, and a lot of times, you know, like that's the glory days, you know, back in the day, you know. And certainly not doing well as a business overall.
It's all throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Of course, but that was the cool part about it because, you know, it was that total commitment of all 10 people. Everybody was bought in, you know, all of us were in it together, you know, like literally every single day we all did everything, we'd make the sales calls, we'd handle the customer service emails, we would go work the events every day at 3:00. We'd go pack the orders, we'd write the notes, we'd ship out the products, we'd clean the warehouse. Like, it was all hands on deck at all time.
Yeah, you worked every position at that time.
Yeah, of course, which was such an amazing experience to learn the business at that standpoint. And again, no systems to back things up. Like, everything's a manual process. Everything's we're figuring it out on the fly. So it was just it was a special time in our business where, that's where a lot of those relationships were built. It's where the team was really kind of solidified there. And every day we're just showing up and how do we get a little bit better?
And every single person you named off is still with the company in some degree, in some fashion.
Yeah.
Was this before or after basically Andy went full court press on Instagram and starting to market like that?
Yeah.
I think you got hired right at the same time.
I think so. I think right at that time he was just kind of starting to build his brand on Instagram specifically. Mm-hmm. He might have started that right before.
January 1st, 2014 was the first day of the first ever First Form Athlete Search.
Yeah.
So it's really at that time.
Yep.
That's wild. That's 10 years ago.
Yeah. It is nuts.
Dude, so you are affectionately known for so much, but I would say that number one thing I think of when I think of you at First Form is you were 100% involved with Summer Smash for its first ever origination, if you will. You were 100% in charge of everything, including talking to the fire marshals.
So not the very first one.
Not the first one ever?
No, not the first one ever.
So who was that one?
Sal did the very first one. That's kind of an interesting story. The first one, I was just still just helping out with stuff just as everybody was. Like, at that time, again, we didn't have any staff. There was no even plan for what Summer Smash was. Like, Summer Smash was an idea that, again, as every day, we're just trying to figure out, hey, how do we build this?
Yeah.
And again, at the time, we had no money to go do these big expo events. Really has never been who we are as a brand anyways. So it was, how do we build that community? How do we bring our people that are ordering our products, albeit it wasn't a ton at the time, and give them the opportunity to come get to know us better and build that positive and fun relationship with them. So that was where the idea came from. Like, hey, well, we like barbecues and drinking beers and working out. Why don't we just invite people into St. Louis to come check out HQ, and we'll make it a little event and we'll see if anybody shows up. So we labeled the event, we put the tickets online, not knowing how many people would even show up. And then within a minute, they all sold out. We're like, oh shit.
Guess we got to come up with a party.
We gotta do something.
I guess I got to talk to the fire marshal. How many people can we have here?
Yeah. Well, I don't even think we talked to the fire marshal that year.
That's what that's another lesson that was learned.
Yeah. A lot of hard lessons
asking for
along
the first year.
Forgiveness
It was
permission.
Andy coming to us like, yeah, you guys need to clear your, like us managers, you need to clear your schedule because you guys are going to be working, you guys are going to be staffing this event.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it wouldn't have been possible.
That's still 2024.
Yeah.
I mean, just you guys have a lot more employees now.
A million more.
Yeah.
Of course. But like, there was no plan going into it. When we sold the tickets, we're like, oh shoot, we got this coming up in a couple months. Let's figure something out. You know? And so Sal planned all of that, coming up with, okay, like, how do we get a stage here? And, what could we do? And, getting the local stunt riders with the motorcycles to come out,
Dude, I was thinking about that the other day. That is wild that was like what we were doing because
there was no barrier.
Rob Bailey like lighting the gas on fire doing like donuts. It's like that is crazy.
Rob Bailey didn't even light it on fire. The Cole that was riding the Harley doing the wheelie. He went out and poured the 1P symbol in gas, and then he rode his Harley across it, did a wheelie, created a spark, and then lit it on fire. And then Rob Bailey was like running around him as he's doing wheelies on a Harley Davidson, and taking videos.
And there was
no
fence.
Barrier.
No barrier.
I remember standing in the crowd and getting hit with melted rubber from them doing burnouts. And at the time, again, I'm like 24.
I know, we're like,
I think it's the coolest
Aaron was
thing.
shirtless, screaming.
I've got a Bud Light in my hand. I'm just thinking it's the coolest thing I've ever done. Sal's
the liability.
The liability. We would die now. think we got like $100 insurance policy off of, some
Oh, yeah.
website online, probably not even real.
Chris, we still get those insurance policies.
Oh,
Chris,
yeah.
like, make sure you get the $100 insurance policy.
Yeah. I wish we
events.
could get an insurance
Oh,
policy
you guys
for
is-
$100.
yours
these
is a little
days.
different
That would be
now.
Great.
But yeah, imagine for all of our listeners, just like cars and motorcycles doing
I've got
burnouts
the
and doing
videos.
donuts. Yeah. We'll make sure to put it up right here. But there's going to be donuts and stuff, and there's just a circle of people like you're watching Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
and
with
there's just
some-
no fences and
With
no
some
barriers.
orange, caution cones and some yellow caution tape. That's the barrier.
Yeah.
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 Please,
Meanwhile,
car, don't
you know,
don't go through this.
Yeah. You got guys on a crotch rocket flying through there, doing stoppies, doing wheelies, doing burnouts, doing donuts, and the crowd's just right there.
Insane.
Loving it.
People
No-
are
no
walking through
opportunity for
HQ
accidents.
without like any barriers.
Oh, nothing.
So, all right. So Summer Smash 1 is over, and we're all getting in the room and everybody's talking and everybody's all right. So how do, obviously this was a success. We're all excited about it. So you're thinking, all right, what's Summer Smash 2 going to look like? And
Yeah.
what was that conversation like? Because that's when things really changed.
Yeah, so that is when I kind of came more into the picture, and that's kind of even part of my evolution within the brand. Like, it goes back to like I've always kind of chased Sal in his career, and like, okay, how do I take Sal's job? And so like early on in my career, same at S2, like, hey, I don't want to just wait for my opportunity. Like, I'm going to go create that. So I got hired into First Form to, kind of help build the ambassador athlete program. And at the time, everybody just kind of do it. And that was more of my main focus. And I knew I wanted to progress from that. Loved what I did. Still involved with that piece today. But he would handle all of our events and stuff. And anytime our athletes were coming in, or Summer Smash, obviously that was our first one that we did. So like in between Summer Smash 1 and Summer Smash 2, that was just something I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to take that from Sal, I'm going to earn my opportunity to continue to move up and have more responsibility in the company. I'm just going to go start doing those things. So like I would know we had these, smaller events. We were doing the athlete search, bringing athletes in, we were constantly doing stuff like that. I'm just going to get ahead of it and do it before he can do it. So like we'd have an, event coming up, a bunch of athletes coming in town. Well, few months out before that, I would just line up and I would go find the hotels that we could do. I could find activities we could do with them, all the things lined up, present it to them and be like, hey, I know we've got this coming up in a couple months. Here's a plan of what we could do. And at the time, again, my plan was probably terrible. And so I'd be like, oh, this is all garbage. But he at least recognized me taking initiative and doing it.
Which is a core value.
100%. And he'd be like, hey, these are all bad. This one's all right, but all the rest of them were bad. Why don't you call these places? Why don't you line this up? And he would start guiding me through that process. And in that process, I'm learning how he's thinking about things, how he's making decisions.
For sure. And building trust with him as to
100%.
like, okay, well,
I see your vision, and I know what your vision would look like if.
Yeah, and over doing a few of those events, in that next year timeline, building that trust and relationship with Sal, and come Summer Smash 2, Sal and Raquel they were pregnant with their firstborn, Enzo.
that was
he knew
crazy.
the due date was right around there. Mm-hmm. And because I'd been helping out with so much of the events, he's like, hey, I don't expect this to happen, but there's a chance that it could happen. I might not be at Summer Smash because we might be having Enzo. He's like, I want you to, come alongside me this year, learn how to do it, have all the contacts. That way, if I am gone, there's somebody that knows, what's supposed to be happening and who do they need to call if something is not working correct. So Summer Smash 2, really just working hand in hand with Sal, kind of learning the purpose and, how to do it and how to set it up. And it's probably where I learned my bad habits of not pulling permits and getting insurance and stuff like that,
Ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, that's right.
The Sal
That's right.
move.
No permission.
Yeah, just talk your way out of it. Yeah.
And for those listening, Enzo was born on Summer Smash
Yeah,
Day.
born on Summer Smash
The actual
Day, so-
morning of, not even like afternoon, not in the middle,
Yep.
straight up. You will miss the entire day.
Yeah.
But he came out.
Born that day, came out that afternoon, drank Michelob Ultra, got up on stage, did the whole thing and then went home.
What an awesome day that
Good
was.
vision from Sal of planning for that. But from that point forward, I kind of came along, helped him build Summer Smash 2 out, did Summer Smash 2, and then from there he's like, all right, you got it. Let's go.
Is this Summer Smash 9 this year? Is it 8? What is it?
15.
We're getting
this
close
week,
to
9.
10. Yeah, we're getting
9.
close. Like, so,
Yep.
Summer Smash 2, it had we were like going through the process of figuring out like, should we have motivational speakers up here? I remember, that the one Tim Grover spoke at, which I thought was awesome. What made you guys want to veer away from that and more into the music?
Yeah, I think a lot of that came down to, one, is the middle of summer in St. Louis.
It's hot.
It's hot. It's very hot. In the speaking piece, while great, for the audience, they can't really talk. They can't interact, and that's the purpose. The purpose is to spend time with us, building memories, building the relationships. And that just was eaten up an hour, 2 hours of the event on that Saturday, where they're not able to do any of that, and they're just sitting out there in the heat, baking in the sun. And obviously
it's not a hotel lobby or
it's out in the middle of our back parking lot. And that's why I always joke our little company picnic, because like it's not, it's the back parking lot where we do all of our shipping and receiving. That's where we do Summer Smash. So to sit out there in the middle of June, and bake in the sun, not the best environment for somebody to really be learning, especially in the beginning. Typically there's other activities in the beginning. People are drinking, they're having a good time. So, all right, settle down, let's sit down and let's listen and learn right now. Just not the right environment for that. So we kind of moved away from that.
Yeah.
To be a good host, Thatcher, I want you to clip this and edit it to the front end. For all listeners who have never heard of Summer Smash, it's been an integral part of your career. Summer Smash, how would you describe it for our listeners?
Yeah, Summer Smash for us, it's really a community event. It's our way to give back to, really our most loyal customers, athletes, employees, everybody that makes First Form what it is and makes First Form special. For us, we've never wanted to be the brand that just goes out to the big, expos, the Olympia, the Arnold, and, have our customers wait in line for hours to get a quick handshake and maybe a free sample of
a little
something.
Picture or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, when we started Summer Smash, it's like, how do we give our people that love us, really are true loyal advocates for the brand, that are part of this, that are helping us build this, the opportunity to come in and get to know us better, to spend time with us, to have some fun, create some memories together, and just celebrate what we've built together up to this point.
And what kind of things have we done there so far? I mean,
starting from the stunt show and the White Castle eating contest where a girl almost died on stage. Yeah, that was a rough start.
A Heimlich went down in front of everybody, right? An actual Heimlich.
Everybody froze. You never realize when you think oh yeah, somebody's choking, I'll help them out. Yeah. And then the lady's choking on stage and everybody's just frozen. Like, what do we do? Thankfully Cole, comes off the motorcycle stunt show, comes up, gives her the Heimlich. In the girl's defense, she regurgitated all of the White Castles that she was choking on, re-ate them, and won the contest.
Oh shit!
So that girl got, I think, free products for at least a
while.
Year or two. So
yeah. She still won.
Speaking of insurance policy,
yeah.
But it morphed into
Summer
concerts
Smash
too.
1 almost became the last Summer Smash as well.
Yeah, it was about to be the Fire Fest or something.
Yes, 100%. So from there, it's turned into obviously still about the community, bringing everybody together. It's went from a single half-day event to now it's multiple days, Thursday through Saturday. A lot of different fitness opportunity to come in, see the headquarters, get a tour, learn a little bit more about the company, meet the different individuals, some different meet and greet opportunities, to working just together, hang out, get to know each other, share some food, share some drinks, have a good time. Concert, like you said. Typically, we've got some sort of amusement rides going on, Ferris wheel, roller coaster rides, whatever it is.
And shout out for always keeping the petting zoo.
Oh, gotta have it. Oh no!
This is the year where it's become tacky.
I mean, the last year the camel bit somebody. So
hey, we're going back to the insurance policy, dude. Increase that insurance.
I know.
You gotta expect the camel to bite. It's a camel.
It's not the lack of wanting the petting zoo to be there. I think this year the petting zoo lady, she's getting.
We're bringing our 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old girls.
Hey, we'll see. Gary will be there.
Okay.
We'll have
I guarantee Kara will love Gary.
By the way, for all the listeners.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's any petting zoo this year.
Okay.
You guys also talking about the evolution, it's like your guys' the build out of the store is crazy now.
Oh, dude. We worked at Summer Smash. Kyle and I I was in charge of the apparel sales. Yeah. And it was just a giant string.
Yeah. Jim was just pulling that photo up.
Incredible.
Andy and Sal's dad of Summer Smash 1 or 2. I don't remember what.
I think this was 2 or 3.
2.
Yeah, it might have been. But literally,
apparel
some
store.
nylon rope hanging across warehouse with T-shirts hung up with
Clothespins.
The
Yeah.
Summer
And they were
Smash.
just, they all had just a number for everybody listening. I was like, they just shirts with like a number on them. Like I want a 14 and a 12.
Yeah.
And then someone runs through the warehouse to try to find a 14
That's
and a
right.
12. And
That's
that was
right.
it. You know,
Summer Smash 1, it was like, okay, now we're going to let you guys buy apparel for 30 minutes or something like that, if you remember
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And then it was like a mad rush, and we were just
100%.
completely not ready for that. We were like, oh my God. And it was just kind of a shit show.
it was like an event by event scenario versus like right now it's kind of like a free for all, open, do what
Yep.
you want. And then, you know, when the entertainment starts, everybody kind of gathers, but
Yeah.
you know, it's a free for all nowadays, but I got to give you so much credit, man. The event is so much fun. It's beyond what anybody thought it could
Especially
possibly
when you
be.
get on top of the sport chassis and are
Yeah,
pouring
dude.
tequila shots out to the crowd, you know.
Oh,
You can
Jeff,
find that
it's
photo.
not Summer Smash 1 anymore, you dork.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, entertainment's really, you know, we went from in the beginning just having a DJ, and then Andy and Sal would be up on stage rapping on the mic, you know, like
Those are
they were the
classic
entertainment.
memories.
I mean,
what was it? Was it Sal singing the Humpty song?
oh yeah, yeah. There's a video of that floating around somewhere we could throw up.
Yeah.
A little further down there.
Over the
There it
last
is.
few years, we've had, you know, let's see. I mean, Nelly, Flo Rida, Pitbull, Steve Aoki.
This was, I believe, this was Steve Aoki.
Yep, right there.
So all of our crew was
Hey,
sitting.
you
on
know
the
what's
front,
funny about
and
that?
I couldn't see.
You see the guy that's looking down right there? He almost got us kicked out of Summer Smash too.
Well, you know,
Brian Whiting almost killed him, and I was like, hey, he's my employee. He's my employee.
Just for
Don't
like
kill
walking
him,
in the
please."
warehouse or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably looking for more bottles of tequila.
Well,
I think,
so-
that,
I think that's what it
I think
was.
that's what it was.
Shout out
that's what it
Una Vida
was.
Tequila, best tequila brand in the whole world. They gave us a bottle of tequila to enjoy during the festivities.
Oh, and you enjoyed it.
Look at
you.
look
And,
at look at both of them in this picture. It's like, of course you guys were.
Shout
about
out
to get
Una
us
Vida. They
kicked
gave
out.
us actually a 6-pack. They gave us
Yeah.
a whole case. And we were just passing the bottles around. And you know what? We got Flo Rida
Hey.
to drink some of that Una Vida on stage.
You know
so we
what's
were excited
hilarious about this photo? Were you not the guy that had to go tell Jeff to get the
100%.
hell off
I
that?
did.
It was
I
100%
did.
Aaron that told me to get down.
I could see Andy getting mad, and I was like, "Oh, this is not going to go well."
Yeah.
Aaron's never talked to me like that before. I was very much intoxicated, and I remember being like, "Oh, sorry, bud."
Yeah, I mean,
You
it
were
is.
having a great time up
It
there.
was all
It's a
good. It was all
memory.
fun and games until actually a girl jumped on trying to, and I didn't know this woman at all.
Yeah.
She just saw that I was up there, and so she thought she could get up there, and I was like, "Oh,
100%.
this is not turning in good."
It is, you know, for us that, you know, were at the early stages of Summer Smash to like where we're at now, where it's like we just could get to go and enjoy.
Yep.
It is such a. I want you to know that you do a good job with Summer Smash as far as making it fun for like the consumer, right? Because I know both sides of it, and I also know how much work that goes into it, and why you'd want to kill Jeff when he gets up on a freaking
Yeah.
up on the sports chassis. But like it really is just one of those things. Like all of our guys love going to it.
Yep.
It is a you know, it's one of those things that you put it on the calendar because everybody is like, it's one of the best portions of the year for us.
Everybody takes so much pride in being a part of our culture that is in it, right?
Yep.
Everybody works really, really hard, and because they work really, really hard, they take so much pride in being able to showcase what we build every day, you know? And so whether you work at Supplement Superstores or First Form, or you're in the warehouse, or you're on the front lines, or, you know, you're on the phones, it just doesn't matter. That day is such a monument to the work that people put in every day. And I really appreciate how everybody gives you the opportunity to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I love to see you enjoy it. And I love to see Sal enjoy it. And I love to see everybody that puts so much work into it. Everybody gets a chance to really take some time to like, you know, smell the roses that day. It seems like.
I don't know. I've seen Aaron at certain Summer Smashes where he was not smelling any roses.
Yeah.
He was just stressed
been-
out.
For
Just
sure.
making sure everybody's. That's. I mean, it is.
For sure. But I
it's a
seen you on the
tough time.
stage at the concert
Oh,
for
of
two.
course.
I feel like
always have
lately,
it.
the last
And
couple ones, you've been like
you
a
got
little
you
bit
and
more.
Taylor and you know, you're taking it in, man. And it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like at least for 60 seconds of every Summer Smash, you've had a chance to really enjoy it.
That's
Does-
a valid
does-
statement.
Does you know, do your parents, when they see a picture of you on the, you know, stage with chain smokers or, you know, these, do they get it now? Are they like,
So
oh,
I think it took my parents like, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 years. It is actually honestly until probably we moved into our new headquarters, you know, and they came and saw it for themselves. And they're like, oh, this is not what we thought it was.
They
is
walked into
huge.
the Porsche in the lobby.
Yeah, I
and
don't think
said,
my parents even had
"Oh,
social
what?"
media before the last few years, and that's mainly to just keep up with me and keep up with Tay and what's going on in our lives. So like that's the hard part for them. Like they don't know all of these things. They don't see it.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. So it wasn't until they started seeing some of those things or the level we were doing some of those things at are like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you could just show them the picture of like Summer Smash where everybody's holding like the flag and there's a million people there, and they'd probably be like, well, okay.
The giant flex photo.
Yeah.
That's an amazing one. Tell us what people, again, we're going on year 9 for Summer Smash. Tell us what, guests this year should look forward to.
Yeah, a lot of the same in the sense of overall purpose. Starting off on Thursday, getting everybody together. Letting the people come in and see obviously the building. Open up the gym so people can come in, work out, take a tour, check out the apparel store, all the things that we have. Getting together in the evening, for the meet and greet. So everybody that's coming in town, I mean, a lot of these people are coming in from all over the place. Some of these people from out of the country, wanting to just meet the people that are involved with the brand. And
And a majority of like your guys' top athletes will be present as well, right?
Absolutely. So it's just an opportunity for everybody to come together. And that's really the focal point Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's really just how do we come together, do different things together, from working out to going out to the farm and just, having a casual time together, sharing some food, sharing some drinks, doing fitness, going out to this year, we're going out to Chicken and Pickle, play a little pickleball, have a good time together. And then Saturday, day of, working out again, we'll do a charity workout in the morning, raise some money for some kids in need. And, Saturday afternoons when we kick off the main event that's at our office, and, a lot of, again, just, making sure people have an amazing time, playing some games.
So you're not going to tell us who's playing, huh?
I'm not telling nothing. It's a surprise.
There is a
every
series
year.
of entertainers that will be there.
There will be some entertainers.
Can I say a series of entertainers?
A series of entertainers.
Is this the question that you get the most leading up to Summer
always,
Smash? People are just bothering the shit out of you. How many people know?
Maybe 12.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 people know. Outside of that, like not even the people.
Sworn to secrecy.
Does Pitbull know he's coming back to perform again?
Who's that?
Does Pitbull know?
I don't think he knows.
Does Steve Aoki know?
I don't know.
Does the Chainsmokers know?
I don't know if anybody knows.
Nelly again, maybe?
I think
Nelly's always a classic.
Dude, Nelly
just-
kills it, man. When Nelly was out,
does.
oh my God. When he first came out for the first, that was the first, I would say, entertainer, right? That was like, this is
Are you saying Sal and Andy aren't entertainers? just
the first one that everybody really enjoys. No, I'm joking.
yeah.
Those first couple of years when they do that, everything was blurry by that point anyway.
Totally.
Well, the cool thing
I have like
is-
no memory of Sal doing it, but it was awesome.
I think this is the cool part about Summer Smash and just our community in general. Like we made a post about that. I think it was this week. And it was a picture of the Chainsmokers last year. And our media team was asking, like, who do you guys think is coming out this year? And there were so many people commenting, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's going to be there. It's all about coming together and having a good time. And that piece is irrelevant.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, we always, like, I stress about that a lot. Our team stress about that a lot of, like, every year. As soon as Summer Smash is over, I'm like, oh my gosh.
How do we outdo it?
How do we make this better next year? And it's a constant struggle. But at the end of the day, I think we could do nothing and just get everybody together and they'd have a great time. I mean, it goes back to the year.
It's like
I think
if
this was
it
3
was
years
just
ago.
like the cadence of like Fall Fest,
Yeah.
it'd be
100%.
awesome, right? Sorry, but go ahead.
3 years ago when we had the bad storm here in St. Louis, 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember which one it was. And we had to shut down Summer Smash like 3 different times. We've got the artists on stage. I think that year it was Nelly, Flo Rida, and Steve Aoki. And we
had to pack everybody into the warehouse.
Yeah, we
And
had
so,
to get
so for our
everybody in the
listeners,
warehouse.
imagine, 1,000 people saying, hey, sorry, can't be standing out here. We all have to go
It
through
wasn't
this
just
one.
rain. It was like
Lightning.
lightning,
Lightning.
thunderstorms.
So we're bringing
it's
people
bad.
into the warehouse, and it's through like a single door, and so there was no like perfect way to do this. It was all just everybody give us some grace. We can't control this, and let's hope.
Yeah, a couple thousand people on the back turf of our distribution center, and everybody's jammed in there like sardines. Like there's no room. There's not supposed to be a couple thousand people standing on that back turf. Everybody's wet because they got soaked coming in. Because again, there's one door they're coming in there. And trying to move a couple thousand people through there. Like people are standing out there in the rain. It's wind. It's lightning, and everybody's having a great time.
Yeah.
They don't even care. You know, they're just.
That was when Sal made his infamous speech.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time, Sal, Andy, myself, I mean, we're standing there like, you know, because obviously we spent a ton of money on the event, you know, and we want it to be a great time for our guests. So like for us, like, we're like, man, people came from all over the world to be here. You know, we're promising them this great event. And then we got to move them all inside. And like, what happens? Can we even finish the event? What happens if we can't finish the event? We spent all this money to do all this stuff and they don't even get to experience it, you know, and we're over there looking at the weather maps, trying to talk to the local people, the authorities that, you know, obviously dictate whether we can keep moving on with the event or not. We're like, we got to get back on stage. What can we do? Can we move some of the sound system inside and throw a concert in our warehouse? Like, what's the options? And Sal goes around the crowd, gets up on this step ladder, and, you know, the infamous Wolf of Wall Street scene, you know, Sal Frisella up there rallying the troops. I'm fucking leaving, you know, and everybody just goes nuts. And again, like, you know, that's what I mean. Like, I think if we didn't do anything and we just got together and hung out, because that's truly what it's about. Like for us, we always talk about like, it's the people that make the party.
Totally.
You know,
Well, by that point too, it's like, because it's turned into like a week long thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's more. It's not just about the concert, even though like outward facing, you know, to social media, the concert, like it looks like holy shit. They literally put on like a music festival, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, for people that go, they've experienced, you know, everything you were talking about. You know, all the different workouts, getting to check out the HQ, the meet and greets. It's like it's not just one singular thing anymore.
Yep.
You know?
It's like the pinnacle of our culture personified in person for everybody to see and feel.
Yep.
And it's something that it's for our listeners. I want them to understand something like it's so easy to go to an event like this and you will say, wow, look how much money they're making. Wow. Look at how many, look how much, look. Yeah. Right. And they're seeing how many people are buying apparel. They're seeing people who bought these expensive tickets, et cetera. And it's expensive is a relative term here. They get an unbelievable value for the price they pay. And they can have that attitude. And so what I love about this so much is that I know from the very, very top, from Andy to Sal to you, their intent is so aligned with making sure it's the absolute best possible time for the person who came, for the consumer, for the, you know, I don't even know what you would call it, but, you know, the attendee, if you will.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been in the back room when I'm watching, you know, Andy talk to every single one of the athletes or influencers from First Form and saying, guys, I need you to understand every single one of these people spent their hard-earned dollars. They took their PTO. They took their vacation time. They boarded their dogs. You know, they got a babysitter. And they came from across the country to hang out with you. Nothing you have going on is more important than that right now.
Yep.
You need to be 100% present to these unbelievable people that pay our paychecks every single day and support us no matter what every single day.
Yeah.
And like they care that much.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the cool part about it. Like, you know, it's funny because we have a new guy that's working on our accounting side, and him and I were talking about it, obviously, because we're leading up to Summer Smash. And he's like, Aaron, why do we do this event? He's like, we lose so much money on this event.
This doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, you know, events should make us money.
Yeah.
And he's like, we lose so much money on this. He's like, this doesn't make sense to me. Again, it doesn't come from that background. He doesn't.
He's an X's and O's guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, hey, that's not what this is about. You know, like this is giving back to our people, you know, showing them a great time, giving them an opportunity to come meet us, you know, really get to understand, you know, who we are, what we're about, what we're trying to accomplish, bring them together so they can build the relationships, not just with us, but the cool thing is people do, they come in from all around the country and they make some of their best friends moving forward, you know, that, you know, you've got an individual, they're on their own fitness journey, you know, and they may not have, that's the coolest thing for like us. Like we're surrounded by so many great people driven on the same, you know, purpose that are supporting you through the process. Well, most people don't have that in life, you know, so then they come together, they not only get to know us, but then they meet all of these other people, you know, that they kind of come along next to each other and build these relationships that even though they might live in different areas of the country or different areas of the world, you know, they become lifelong friends that end up coming back year after year or just keeping in touch with each other and supporting each other along the way. You know, it's just that time for us to bring everybody together that's centered around that mission of how do we solidify that and solidify those relationships and support each other moving forward.
I love it, man.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
We
should be proud of it, man. You should be proud of like, you know, everything that you've accomplished, man, because it's not, you know, we know like the work that goes into it. We know the stress of, you know, Andy is obviously the biggest
Vision caster here.
Yeah, well, he's just the biggest inspiration probably we've had in our lifetime. Sal as well, and Jason, which is kind of the unsung hero of the company.
Sure.
And but we know the boiler room that it is to work in there, and for you to kind of rise to the occasion, over such a long period of time and get to where you're at in your career, man, it's just it's inspiring, man.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you too, because the older I get, the more you start appreciating things you never, thought of or learned about, et cetera. And it's like, when you entered the company, I was on year 6.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's so easy, the older you get and the more years into a company's growth, the further along the growth goes, right? That you could walk in and say, oh, like, when would I get my opportunity? Like, what's the point of working so hard and sacrificing so much? No one would notice. I'm just a little, cog in the wheel, if you will.
Yep.
And so I just want to say thank you for trying as hard as you did, for selling out as much as you did, because it undoubtedly helped me and Kyle and all of our team because of the level of, intensity that you brought every single day back then. And, the further along this journey we get, the more I recognize that. So just thank you, because it's made our lives so much better.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. I mean, for me, again, like, that's what it's all about. Like, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys greatly. It's been cool to watch all of us continue to invest in the, just our mission, what we're trying to accomplish on both sides of it, and just continue to grow it, help more people. But, to be, just accomplishing great things in our lives personally too. And I think it's not just cool for us, but it's cool for all of the other people, both inside our companies and outside of our companies, to be able to watch that and see that happen and see that evolution. Because to your point, what we were talking about in the beginning of this, like, far too many people, as soon as it gets tough, as soon as it doesn't happen right away, they just give up on themselves. And I don't think, it takes people like us. It takes other people that, have been a part of our company. And there's other amazing people outside of our company that do the same thing. But if it's not for them going first and setting the example and showing what's possible, my whole goal is that I hope I inspire some other people to come along with that. Mm-hmm. And every day, even working with our team, like, that's it. Like, been very fortunate to have a great career and make a great life for myself. And those things are all cool. But, like, the most cool piece of it is being able to watch somebody else that was me, 11 years ago, buy in and commit themselves to becoming, the greatest version that they can be for themselves. And it's not just for the money. It's for the great things and the great impact that they can make on their family and their community and the world at large. And it's that ripple effect that continues to happen over time. Like, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for you two guys and seeing you guys go out there and, invest in yourself and build success in the company that inspired me to go. And all I hope to do is be that for that next generation of people as well. And that's the cool part about Summer Smash too. Like, like, you guys are giving me credit for it. I mean, I don't do a lot of it at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I'm just helping make sure it all gets done and we give a great experience to our people. Like, we've got a great team that shows up and, they invest their time and energy and effort to think about the person that's coming. Like, hey, how do we give them this experience, and constantly making that better? Like, if it was left to me, like, again, we'd probably still be, flipping hamburgers and drinking some cold beers and working out in the back parking lot, because, like, I'm a simple guy. Like, it doesn't matter to me. That's a great time, know? But it's having the team, the creative team, the experienced team, everybody coming in and thinking about, like, hey, this is a way that we could elevate this. This is a way that we could do more for our people and give them an experience that they're never going to forget. So I just think that's the coolest part about what we do in general, is just we've got such an amazing group of people that we get the opportunity to work with every single day that, is, a lot of fun in and of itself, but, it's making a big impact in a lot of people's lives.
Man, that's so well said. We have Summer Smash coming up this week. It's going to be this Saturday. If you're listening to this is coming out on a Tuesday. And so what I want to tell people, if you've never, hopefully we've sold you hard enough on Summer Smash that you need to go. And if you haven't been,
well, you can't go, but
yeah, you can't.
You'll have to go next year.
It'll have to be next year. But I will tell you that, something I want everybody to recognize and notice is just the unbelievable level of service and the unbelievable attitude and effort that every single person that's working the event, shows.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of big events, and I've been to a lot of big events over the last 10 years. I've been to the Super Bowl multiple times. And I watch these events be played at scale, and I would put Summer Smash 100% up against anything I've ever been to on the form of how collectively it's put on. Yep. And I mean that sincerely. It's unbelievable the level of care that the parking attendants give.
Yeah. Me and Jeff, because, we've basically been outside of St. Louis for such a long time. You guys have I don't know, probably like 3/4 of your employees that don't even know who we are.
Yeah.
And so we kind of get to go in there and like,
Just be fans, dude.
incognito. And so we
Yeah.
get like the full treatment, you know?
Yeah.
And so like guys
don't know
high-fiving
us,
us,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, rolling the red carpet out for us. And it's always, you know, it's always impressive, dude, you know?
Like the most impressive.
But that's the thing. Like, look, we could have the best performers, you know, known to man at the event. But at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about that relationship. It's about how does our team, you know, treat those people coming in? What is the relationship that they build with them? And I think that's what makes the event special.
You guys totally understand that the experience starts with the very first interaction, no matter who it is.
Bro.
And it's someone telling me where to park my car.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's unbelievable the level of care that the guy that's pointing where I need to park my car.
Yeah.
And there's
That's
so much
unreal.
leverage in that with today's society because, Jesus, there's so few people that actually are trying to
It's a unicorn.
deliver on that.
I
It's a
know.
straight unicorn at this point.
Dude, it makes it hard to support other businesses.
I know.
You know,
It
and you
100%
guys get it.
does. Yeah.
Because when you care about the customers so much and you invest so much into doing whatever it takes to help that person, you know, and then you go, just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You're
if it's
buying
my
something
internet.
expensive, something
Yeah, it
that's like
doesn't- either
10
way.
times the, yeah.
Does either way, you know, to see the lack of care from that company or how hard it is to even do business with that company. It's just like when we were talking about your experience on the bachelor trip. You know, like you're at a business trying to spend money and that guy's like giving you a hard time. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like,
I
I'm
thought I
here
was just trying to spend
support
money.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah, no joke. And I'm getting treated like that. Like, it's amazing to me the lack of companies that are out there that really care about their people and invest in their people. Like, I don't even know how they stay in business.
Yeah, retail. I really always am trying to support retail because obviously that's our business.
Yep.
But damn, retail today makes it hard.
Very
it
few people
really
are
makes
trying.
it hard because I'm
And
like,
they
no
keep-
wonder.
That's why they
so
keep
much-
dying, man.
Yeah.
It's we try to explain to people it's like retail's dead. Like, no, it's not. Just terrible retail is dead.
Yeah.
And luckily there's some places out there that really make it fun, that really make it cool. I mean,
Yeah, and I don't
you've been
care,
to
like-
Shields. Like Shields is an amazing spot. They give you great service.
I will go to a place like that, you know, 10 times out of 10, I will spend more money. I will go out of my way to go to it because it's worth it for me. You know, whether it's the restaurant, whether it's a retail shop store,
The
doesn't
lemonade
matter.
stand.
Yeah, I don't care, you know, but like finding somebody that truly values, you know, me as the customer and is willing to go above and beyond and make sure that, you know, whether they're serving me food or they're selling me a shirt like that, I'm truly being taken care of and I'm getting a good experience and that person or that I know that, you know, they value my business. Like I would way rather spend my money there than anywhere else. Yeah. I could get it on Amazon. I could get it cheaper. I could get it faster, but like, okay, well, who am I serving there? You know, I'd rather take care of that guy, that girl that, you know, is working the other side of that is relying on that money coming in, you know, that is also investing in me and making sure I'm taken care of as well.
Yeah.
This
Totally agree, man.
this comes to a close because you've got to get somewhere.
Yeah.
It's about that time. So we have one final question we ask one of all of our guests, and it is a fun one for you as a man who
He
loves
might be-
food.
I was about to say he could probably do the one, even though he doesn't live in Kansas City.
Oh, he could. Yeah. So, Aaron, you've been to Kansas City many times. When you come, what is the ultimate barbecue for you that you have to eat when you're on your trip here?
Oklahoma Joe's.
Oh, he even said it right.
Z-Man, you know.
Is it the Z-Man that you get, or you get the Rocket Pig?
Oh, I mean, there's nothing bad that you can get at that place. I mean, there's a lot. You guys have a blessing in Kansas City of a lot of great barbecue places.
It's true.
And I've had the pleasure of going to some of them with you guys. But there's nothing better than going to Oklahoma Joe's and just getting their food.
I got a great question for
Is
you
it-
too, because you obviously have had some great barbecue in St. Louis, and St.
Yeah.
Louis does not get enough credit for their barbecue.
Yeah, they do.
They got some phenomenal. And so, would you put any of them up against, your Oklahoma Joe's experience?
Man, I don't know if I can.
Do you look forward to? I think we love
There's
Sugar
something
Fire.
about that.
We love Sugar Fire.
I do love Sugar Fire. Sugar Fire is great.
For the whole experience, right?
The whole
Not just the meat, but
experience.
the sides.
I love the company. I love the food. I love the atmosphere there. It's something about growing up close to here, and that was like the very first barbecue that I had. That was like great barbecue. So,
You waited in the line and everything,
yeah,
huh?
100%. So like part of it, just the nostalgia behind going there for the first time. That's like for me, that's the greatest barbecue that I'll ever have.
Yeah.
Whether
it. I
that's
agree.
true or not, I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
But to me, that's true.
Creates the experience, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
100%.
All right, well,
You're Well, I was going to say you're very well traveled now because with First Form, you guys are always out doing events. Is there any place that rivals Kansas City with barbecue? Like you've been to Austin, you know, Is there any
Yeah,
of those
There's
places?
some good
that-
spots.
I'm a hometown boy, so for me, like Texas got a lot of good barbecue for sure. Quality of food, absolutely. But I mean, I will always say Kansas City has the best barbecue.
That's why we love you, Aaron. That's why we love you.
There's not a single human on earth that doesn't like Aaron Summers. If they don't, they're wrong. We love you. Thanks for being here, man. And we'll hopefully see you next weekend.
Absolutely, love you guys.
Thanks,
Love you,
buddy.